Hey YouTube, this is Wrestling and Amusement Park Fan 62. Now, I want to be serious for a minute with with what's happening with what's been happening this past week, and I would like to talk about that for a minute. Now, if you don't know what I mean and you don't really follow the wrestling community like I do, this past week has been hard on it because there have been allegations of a lot of stuff that should not belong in the wrestling community, such as sexual allegations, verbal allegations, rape, trying to get with people, and so forth. As of now, that I have heard, there's been over 75 allegations of that in the wrestling community throughout the world, not just here in the US, but in the UK, Australia, and all over. And the bad part about this too is it's not just one promotion that this has occurred. It's occurred in multiple promotions. So it's occurred in the WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, a lot of the smaller independent promotions. And the bad part about it is this. There have been people who have been training for years, busting their butt, doing whatever to get into a big promotion like WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, and something may have happened to them while doing that, and they never said anything until all these allegations started. Now, the bad part about this too is most of the allegations are against men. And I am not going to comment on some of the stuff against people in Impact Wrestling, in AEW, and some of the comments they've been saying, such as Sammy Guevara, Joey Ryan, and others, just because I don't know the full extent to their stories. But if all that is true, it is really messed up. Now, I realize that being in the industry, it's not easy work to do. And I realize especially if you're a woman or a female, and this happens to you, you may or may not want to keep this silent, because that could hurt you as far as trying to get into a bigger promotion. But it is not right for someone to hold back what's happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, just to get into a bigger promotion. And you have to hold that back as far as what's going to happen. Why did I deserve this? And potentially this could also hurt the industry itself as far as getting new talent. there could be people out there who could be really good, who are just starting up or been in it for a couple of years. But hearing all this may or may not want them to go further because they may or may not want to deal with it again. I realize that there's always going to be bad people in no matter what industry you get into. Doesn't matter if it's wrestling or sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, basketball, football, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, whatever, or even stuff outside of sports, like accounting, lawyers, whatever. I realize that there's always going to be one or two bad apples in the bunch, so to speak. And the bad part is with some people, they get into something like wrestling or basketball or football just for the money. And that's all. They don't really care about the sport. All they do is because they know they can get paid millions and millions of dollars a year to do that. But it's one of those things that once is sad to hear about. I hate to hear about all these people wanting to get into the sport and something happens to them. And the bad part nowadays is it's not just, texting or calling anymore, saying these things. Now, with social media, you have sites like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and a lot of these other sites that may or may not be out there anymore, where you can message somebody and say something sexual or something like that. And that is the sad part about this, is the fact people are doing that, especially to younger talent out there. Just for a laugh. Maybe they're serious. Who knows? But it's just sad to hear about this. But if you want to keep up with the news on this, a couple of YouTube pages you can subscribe to hear all the information, new things as far as what's to come. You can find here on YouTube at Wrestle Talk, where they kind of go more in depth about it. What Culture Wrestling, they kind of go into it a little bit, but not as much as Wrestle Talk. Or if you have a smartphone, such as an iPhone or an Android, I know this is on iPhones, I'm not sure about Androids, but you can also download the, it's called Ringside News, or RSN, and that will bring you all the news on what's going on throughout the wrestling community, as well as far as stuff from promotions like WWE and AEW. And to anybody who this has happened to, I am sorry this happened to you. And I hope you get better, and don't hold this as it's not all of the wrestling community, it's just certain people.